So, I thought that everybody's talking about creativity these days, so maybe I will say a couple of words about creativity as well. And just to start, I would like to recall a couple of acts of creativity from the past. So, here is the time axis, and we see that we have ancient times, where all the discoveries have been total discoveries in the sense that they affected all spheres of human life. So we had the alphabet, the wheel, the currency. Also in the Middle Ages, which are very much underestimated, we discovered printing, gunpowder, algebra. The Enlightenment brought us steam engine, liberalism, the concept of encyclopedia. In the 19th century, we discovered theory of evolution, oil lamp, but also bicycles, so things which are very important for our common day life. And the modernity brought us the penicillin, theory of relativity, airplanes, and even better things like nuclear fusion, DNA, or the internet. So all these things together made us think that humanity is doing a constant progress, and we are marching towards a better world. But the question is, what was the critical, creative discovery of the last 25 years? So maybe faster cars, or more TV channels, or larger hypermarkets? Something's wrong here, I guess. So the less we discover and the less significant our discoveries are, the more we talk about creativity. So what's the problem? What changed? So one thing is that we've already made all these easy steps, and we have to put a lot of effort to discover new ones. But another thing is that we turned creativity into a profession. So we have people that are forced to be creative. More and more people are poor. More than 1 billion of people suffers hunger. So some of them become creative, invent something. And then just in order to escape the poverty trap, they create something, good business or anything. And of course, media emphasize it, and it's very spectacular. But still, it is covered by the shadow of all these unsuccessful stories, which are often neglected by the public opinion. So another thing is that we in Europe believe that creativity is the driving force of our economy. So, for example, European Commission 2 years ago issued a green paper about cultural and creative industries. So cultural and creative industries are meant to be the future of European economy. The problem is that the more obvious is the fact that growing economies, capitalistic economies of China and India are dominating our culture, our economy, the more terrible and realistic is the vision that the men of West will produce T-shirts for the people in Asia. So in this way, you see that creativity is not a sustainable solution for our economy. It is rather a last chance that we badly need to try. So let's go ahead with this creativity. And it was a couple of years ago when a famous urban theorist, Richard Florida, announced the birth of creative class. So I wonder, haven't we been creative even before the word creativity have been applied to us? And haven't all these discoveries that I mentioned been creative enough? What's creative these days? So for example, we have creative banking. That's new. And it makes French and German banks, for example, drain the European taxpayer from money. It enables us to donate Greece in order to transfer the money at the end to private accounts of the financial institutions. It can also it also makes possible to purchase the toxic bonds issued by Greece by the European Bank for the prices which are much higher than the original market prices. It also relates, for example, to American Fed, which donates financial institutions with billions of dollars every year. And a billiard is 1 and 12 zeros. So this is a kind of creativity. But also we have creative pharmaceutics. So new diseases are created by the companies just in order to make us buy more pills. Also, we have creative marketing that convinces us that we need to buy more and to take the credits in order to buy more. So, for example, we have Antonio Banderas or John Cleese or Marek Konrad convincing us that to be as cool and as independent as they are, we need simply borrow more money. So, in this way, we are creative. And we are most creative in talking about creativity. So we keep talking, be creative, be creative. But what is this creativity all about? So before creativity became such a trendy and sexy word, we had another concept of intelligence quotient, abbreviated IQ. And we had IQ tests. So I will give you an example. Okay, so let's consider a sequence of numbers, like 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, and what is the next number? One could guess 25. Why 25? Oh, that's pretty obvious. So we have like interchangingly plus 2, plus 4, plus 2, plus 4, so that's 25. Yeah, that's obvious. But he or she could say, hey, listen, it's not 25. I think it's 36. How come? Why 36? Okay, I found a polynomial of this form. And the zeros of these polynomials are 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, and 36. So 36 is the only one that is lacking here. So the zeros of a polynomial are the places where the polynomial crosses the x-axis. So that's pretty obvious that it must be 36. But somebody else could say, oh no, it's neither 25 nor 36, it's 29. So why 29? Oh, that's also obvious. So a prime number is a natural number greater than 1 that has no positive divisors other than 1 and itself. That's well known from the middle school. So we have like a sequence of prime numbers, 5, 7, 11, and so on. So the next one is 29. That's obvious. So it makes us feel maybe we can put here just simply anything and just find a suitable justification to put here anything. So, as Ludwig Wittgenstein would say, every action can be adjusted to any kind of rule. For example, because of the fact that any rule can be interpreted in many ways, and the interpretation can be adjusted. So, that's the kind of game of creativity that we are playing today. And we should maybe ask, what is more difficult? To find the last number in this sequence, or maybe to find a rule that justifies putting any given number at the end of this sequence. So that's pretty obvious that the latter challenge is more difficult. So it's more difficult to find a rule. But in fact, society rewards us for the former one. So if we are able to give a number that is accepted by the society, then we are rewarded. If we are not able to give the number, then we are not rewarded. That's simple. But then it can happen that we can question the very game, the very rules of the game. And then we are threatened by the public ostracism. People don't like when we question the game. But in fact, that's the very sense of creativity, to be aware of the rules of the game and to be able to change them and question them. It becomes even more difficult when it is not the society that constitutes the rules, but, for example, private companies, or, as C.W. Mills called them, power elites. So in fact, behind this game of creativity, there is another game played by powers of elite in the field of power. So, as you know, I'm from the office Wroclaw 2016, and we were preparing the application for the title of European Capital of Culture. So, in fact, we thought that it is very important to make people aware of the fact that culture is about becoming aware of the rules of the games we are playing and becoming capable of changing these rules. So, being a European Capital of Culture, we would like to be against spectacularization of culture. So, nowadays, everything is a spectacle. So, human private tragedies, democracy, the summits of G8, everything is a spectacle. So, we don't like it. We also don't like the interpassivity phenomenon. So, what's interpassivity? That's pretty simple. That's opposite to interactivity. So modern cutting-edge technologies and electronic devices were meant to support our interactive exchange, the communication between people. But in fact, they replaced us. So we are using Facebook and we like or dislike things, and we have a false feeling that we interact with other people. So that's the way in which we are interpassive instead of being interactive. So we are also against commodification, against turning culture into a commodity. We are against festivalization. So usually culture is a festival these days. So we are meant to be the spectators, and the show is being prepared for us. We pay for it as a taxpayers, and we are still passive. Please note that we don't create being as spectators. So we are against it. We perceive culture as something active, as something creative, what one could say. Also, we are against exclusion, against social exclusion, especially because of the financial reasons. So all of us pay taxes, but there is only a narrow group of people, usually the power elite, that benefits from it. So we would like to make culture accessible for everybody. But one can ask, how to make use of creativity? So there is one idea, also pretty simple. So people in Brussels, in Silicon Valley, on the Wall Street, love talking about creativity. So maybe we should just talk about creativity and they will love us and give us money. So we thought, okay, maybe we can join a nice project that talks about creativity. There is a project called Creative Cities. It is a net of cities that like to be creative. So there is also a project within this big program called Future City Jobs. So we thought, okay, we will find something and implement it within the framework of Future City Jobs. And that's our idea. So we had a diagnosis that we have a big level of unemployment, high level of unemployment people among youth, among professionals, among craftsmen. On the other hand, cultural and creative sector is perceived as profitless. We are also aware of the fact that we have low social capital, low place identification, and in fact, majority of these professionals and craftsmen and people from the marketing field are hired by the corporations. So there is no direct interaction, no direct communication between these three groups. So we would like to change it and maybe realize some of our objectives. So create something small, like a cooperative, giving sustainable job for 20 people, providing these job places. Bring designers, craftsmen, and merchants together. Then create a local brand. Not make everything from the scratch. Just support local potential and exploit existing ideas. But if it's needed, call it creative. No problem. So then we would also like to realize some long-term goals like culture for social change, applying culture for social change, involve citizens in common action, and make it a good practice. So, who? Designers, craftsmen, and merchants, as I said, can help each other to do something. And do what? Okay. Design, product, and sell items, provide art services, and organize paid and unpaid workshops. And how? We use a three-step business model that I will explain in a minute. Okay, so the most important part of every project are the people. So here we have the three major groups, craftsmen, designers, merchants, which are unhappy because they have no sustainable job. We have also apprentices and administrators that can join the project, and external partners like British Council, Wroclaw 2016, local media, the community, and many others. So if we will succeed, then all these people will become happy because they will have a sustainable job. Okay, so what's the business plan? We'll have a cooperative planning, so we'll bring designers, craftsmen, merchants together to develop an item and produce it in a cooperative way. That's pretty simple and pretty obvious. And then we'll use a multi-channel distribution without this corporative link. So we will have our own shop, the internet, we will sell items. Then we will also try direct sales during the events, like, for example, Euro 2012 in Wroclaw in June. And then some of the merchants will try to sell these items or sign some contract with commercial shops. Okay, everything will be based on the local brand that will associate things like bottom-up recycling, synergy, being exceptional, being creative, being fair, and local identity. By the way, you must use all these words to apply for EU grant. Okay, and then we created a brand, Panato, okay? It's in Polish, so it's difficult to translate, but it means something like, look at it. Okay, we have some tasks. Okay, we have some tasks to do. We have to gather people, we have to gain some space and some resources, we have to gain funding and solve legal issues, and then we need some brand and promotion. Okay, I won't get into details because I have not enough time, but it is an example of something real. And we just simply use the creativity to realize something real. Something maybe not that large, maybe not that creative, maybe not that innovative, but from the perspective of these people that will get a job, that's more than important. Okay, so that's an example also of the politics of small things. And according to Jeffrey Goldfarb's understanding of the concept, if we gather together around the kitchen table and talk with our friends and our families, we are creating politics. And in fact, these conversations around the kitchen table are the source of the significant political power. Not this big one, not related to these big issues, but related to the most important issues, which are the issues of our common day life, our common day life problems. And we need to talk about it, because then more people talk about it. And we gain this power that will enable us to become aware of the rules of the game and be capable of changing the rules of the game. And it makes us smile. So, how about the creativity? I think we should stop talking about creativity. I will stop talking about creativity in a moment. And we just should discuss things that are important in our life and act. And when acting, we just need to be creative. That's all. So, thank you very much.